Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history.
It started without a sound. No press alert, no presidential warning, just silence until the explosions came. One after another, cities lit up in chaos, their skies torn by fire. In a matter of hours, the region was in shock. No one knew who struck first, but the precision? Unmistakable. This wasn't random. It was calculated. From cyber attacks to aerial bombardments, someone had just launched a full-spectrum assault, and the world was left scrambling to understand what was happening and what could happen next. You're watching Navy Secrets, and what comes next might change everything. America made its move fast, and it made it big. The US deployed 6 B-2 Spirit bombers from Guam. Not a drill, not a show of force. This was the largest B-2 deployment since 2003's Iraq War, and it meant business. As many suspected, the takeoff wasn't from Diego Garcia. It came from Anderson Air Force Base, a site equipped with advanced air defenses and custom-designed hangars built for stealth war machines like the B-2. And then, something rare happened. Those bombers refueled mid-air. Why does that matter? Because mid-air refueling means one thing. Those bombers left the ground fully loaded with weapons. No delays, no room for error. This was a high-stakes mission with maximum urgency. The B-2 isn't just any aircraft. It's the only plane in America's fleet that can fly high, disappear from radar, and carry massive bunker-busting bombs all at once. But even that was just the opening act. Once in strike range, those B-2s dropped the GBU-57, also known as the Massive Ordnance Penetrator. These beasts weigh 13 tons and can pierce through dozens of feet of steel-reinforced concrete. Why use them? Because there's only one bomb on Earth that can reach Iran's Fordow nuclear facility, buried nearly 300 feet underground, and that's the GBU-57. Iran built Fordow to survive anything but this. Meanwhile, US Navy submarines didn't sit still. From the depths, they launched 30 Tomahawk cruise missiles. Their targets? Natanz and Isfahan, 2 major Iranian nuclear hubs. These missiles fly low, fast, and nearly invisible to radar. They're built for one purpose: to strike hard with pinpoint accuracy and leave no time to respond. Together, the bombers and missiles struck in perfect sync, overwhelming defenses before they could blink. And then, as the world held its breath, a voice broke the silence. President Donald Trump stepped up to the podium with a fire in his tone. Tonight, he declared, I can report to the world that the airstrikes were a spectacular military success. According to Trump, America had just wiped out Iran's most guarded nuclear enrichment sites. Years of secrecy, years of fear, gone in hours. And to back it up, the White House dropped photos inside the Situation Room, Trump at the center, Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, the entire War Cabinet, eyes locked on the mission feed, radiating confidence. This wasn't just a press stunt. It was a clear message to Iran, to its allies, and to every nation watching. The US had just launched a flawless stealth operation using its most elite weapons. And it worked. The statement was loud and clear. No line is too deep. No bunker is too strong. America can hit anywhere, anytime. But just as the celebration began in Washington, the real storm was only beginning. From the east, another firestorm ignited, this time from Israel. As US bombers returned to base, Israel launched its own offensive, Operation Rising Lion. It wasn't just an airstrike, It was a coordinated high-tech takedown of Iran's military and infrastructure systems. In the sky, Israeli jets rained down missiles on drone hubs, radar bases, and missile plants. But on the ground, and in cyberspace, things got darker. Elite cyber units launched simultaneous digital attacks, crashing financial networks, shutting down banks, and blacking out power grids. Internet access disappeared. ATMs stopped working. The population disoriented, the regime paralyzed. But this attack went beyond destroying tech and missiles. Israel dug deep, using covert psychological warfare to rattle Iran from the inside. It wasn't just about physical destruction. It was about dismantling confidence, command, and control. And then came the strike that sent chills through the intelligence world. One of the targets was the IR-40 heavy water reactor in Iraq. Long suspected to be a secret plutonium factory, Iran claimed it was shut down years ago, but new satellite images said otherwise, and Israel wasn't taking chances. The strike was surgical, brutal, and possibly irreversible. The message was now global. No matter how deep you hide, no matter what you claim, if you're preparing for war, we'll bring it to your doorstep. And this is just the beginning. The dome was gone, blown apart in a single, targeted hit. And then came the evidence. Rising steam, caught by satellite cameras, poured from the reactor's core. It was still running, still live, which meant one thing. Iran had been hiding the truth. This facility wasn't dormant. It was operational, capable of producing weapons-grade plutonium without enriching uranium. That shortcut, it would have given Iran a faster track to a nuclear bomb than the world ever imagined. But with that one strike, experts say, that path has been shut down for years. It wasn't just an airstrike, it was a declaration. A message carved into concrete and steel. There are no back doors to the bomb. But what came next didn't involve missiles or jets. It came from a place no one expected, a TV screen. Just as Iranian skies exploded with fire and smoke, something strange happened on national television. The regular broadcast cut out, replaced by raw, shaky footage of protests in the streets. And then, a chilling message appeared on screen. Rising Lion. Over and over, that phrase echoed alongside crowds chanting, flames rising, fists in the air. Iran's tightly controlled media, the regime's loudest weapon, had been hijacked, turned against them. This wasn't just cyber warfare. It was psychological war. And it hit hard. People across Iran were stunned. Phones lit up, TVs blared, social media exploded until it was too much. The government yanked the plug. Nationwide, the internet went dark. But by then, the damage was done. The call had already spread like wildfire, and with the blackout came collapse. In the hours that followed, everyday life in Iran began to unravel. The lights went out, the banks froze. Cities like Tehran were swallowed by silence. No power, no money, no internet. Homes and hospitals were cut off. ATMs blinked out. Payments failed. From one night to the next, a modern country was thrown into digital darkness. Businesses stalled. Schools closed. Emergency services struggled. It felt like the nation had been dragged backward in time, cut off from the world. But this wasn't just a technological blackout. It was psychological warfare at its peak. Iran's leaders were no longer in control, and the people could feel it. While Iran stumbled in the dark, the US was already making its next move. The Pentagon kicked into high gear. Troop deployments shifted. B-1Bs and B-2 bombers moved closer to Iranian airspace. Refueling aircraft were launched to extend flight time for long-range missions. American forces quietly repositioned away from Qatar and Bahrain, reducing exposure and tightening the noose. Then, one sign appeared that sent shockwaves through military analysts. The E-4B Doomsday plane, an airborne command center reserved for nuclear warfare and national emergencies, took off and entered the region. That jet doesn't fly for just anything. Its presence sent a thunderous message. Washington wasn't bluffing. Meanwhile, US Navy strike groups closed in on the Persian Gulf. Aircraft carriers, guided missile destroyers, and stealth submarines all moved within striking distance. America was building pressure from every direction, ready to react to any retaliation. And Iran tried. Tehran fired back. A barrage of Shahab-3 ballistic missiles and dozens of kamikaze drones were launched toward Israel and nearby American bases. But almost nothing got through. Israel's layered defense system, Iron Dome, David's Sling, Arrow 3, all activated. The sky lit up, but the threat was neutralized. Only a handful of missiles landed, and they hit empty desert. But what happened next shocked even seasoned military watchers. Within hours of Iran launching its counterattack, nearly every missile site used was hunted down and destroyed. Precision drone strikes, some American, some Israeli, neutralized launches before they could fire a second wave. It wasn't a war, it was a dismantling. Iran's response, once feared to be massive, turned out to be a whisper, symbolic at best. The damage, minimal. The strategy, failing. And analysts around the world were left asking the same question. Did Iran still have anything left? Their command centers were offline, their bunkers breached, and their counter-strikes ineffective. Even in Tehran, the heart of the regime, fear had taken root. The missiles had stopped, but the uncertainty had just begun. As the attacks rolled on and Iran's defenses stayed silent, something eerie began to unfold in the heart of the country. Tehran, the bustling, noisy, never-sleeps capital, went still. Drone footage and security cams painted a haunting picture. Highways once jammed with traffic now empty. Shops shuttered, streets abandoned. Long lines of cars choked the exits, families desperate to flee. In a matter of hours, the city had turned into a ghost town. But it wasn't just the bombs people feared. It was the silence. No phones, no internet, no news, no way to check if your loved ones were safe or even alive. The blackout didn't just cut off outside information, it sealed people inside their own panic. Some believed the real purpose wasn't to block foreign media, but to stop a rebellion from erupting at home. And in that silence, something terrifying took hold. Tehran's quiet wasn't just fear, it was the sound of a regime teetering on the edge, a capital that could no longer guarantee protection, a symbol of a nation staring into the abyss. Back in Washington and Tel Aviv, while panic gripped the Iranian streets, military plans moved quietly into their final phase. On paper, everything was ready. The White House had already signed off on a full-scale invasion strategy. President Trump, fresh from declaring the airstrikes a spectacular success, held back, just barely, on giving the green light. He left the door cracked open for diplomacy, a last, narrow off-ramp. But behind the scenes, every force was locked and loaded. One command, just one, and it would begin. And then Israel raised the temperature even higher. In a rare and chilling public statement, senior Israeli officials declared that if Iran continued to resist, they were ready to take out the supreme leader himself, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. That wasn't just military posturing. That was a direct threat to Iran's most powerful man, a strike at the very soul of the Islamic Republic. Now, The entire world is holding its breath. Iran's defenses are rattled. Its cities are on the brink. Its nuclear capabilities crippled. Its counterattack barely registered. And yet, one question still looms like a shadow. Is this the end of the beginning or the start of something much worse? All eyes are now on that final decision. One move could lead to peace. Another, to a regional war the world may not be ready for. And that's where we leave you, for now. You've been watching Navy Secrets, your go-to source for deep-dive military insight, real-time analysis, and untold stories that matter. If you found this video powerful, informative, or even unsettling in a good way, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss a single update. Your support helps us keep breaking stories others won't touch. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. Is the world on the edge of war or about to pull back from it? We'll be watching closely. Until next time, stay sharp.